Another type of function that we can look at is called a piecewise function. And as you can see by the picture, it's put together in different pieces. It's defined by two or more equations, each of which applies to a different part of the domain. So this one is a piecewise function that has no breaks or gaps, but it could. In this case, it doesn't. And because it doesn't, and I can draw it along with one single pen stroke and never pick up my pencil, it's continuous. This question is, what is the domain of the above function? We've talked about domain before. Domain is going from the very far left to the very far right. Where does it start and where does it stop? And although this doesn't have arrows on it, we will assume that it's continuously going up and out or down and out. So from the far left, our domain is going to start somewhere way out here towards negative infinity. Right? So even if it's looking like it stops at -10, it really does, and it keeps on going out -11 and so on. So our domain is going to start near negative infinity with a parenthesis on infinity or negative infinity. And in this case, how far over does it go? Well, it looks like maybe it stops at 1, 2, 3, but because that's not a solid dot there, it keeps on going up and out. So that means at 5, there's going to be a value. At 10, there's going to be some value way up here. So this is going to keep on going out to infinity. And again, with a parenthesis. The range goes from bottom to top. So the smallest y value, again, it's not going to stop here at -10. It's going to keep on going down. So that's going to be negative infinity. And the range goes from bottom to top. So this keeps on going straight up. So it's going to go up to positive infinity. Using the graph, find the following. So f of -3 means when x is -3, what's the corresponding y value equal to? That's what we're really asking you. So I come over here to the graph -3 and find what the corresponding point is on that graph. And it looks like -1. That's the function value at x equals -3. So I come over here to f of 0. So when x is 0, when the input is 0, what's the output? Or what's your y value? So when x is 0, this y value here is +1. So this also means that the point -3, -1 is on the graph, and the point 0, 1 is on your graph. Right. So looking at another piecewise function, this one is discontinuous because if I draw, I have to pick up my pencil and then start again. So it's not a continuous function, but discontinuous piecewise function. So again, what is the domain of this function? So going from left to right, where does it start and where does it stop? So we start out here somewhere at negative infinity. And although there's a break in the graph, there's still a solid dot here. So there's a point there, and then it keeps on going out this way to positive infinity. Notice this arrow is going to keep on going up and out. When we talk about domain, we're looking at how far out it goes. For the range of this function, we want to look at what is the lowest y value to the highest y value. Well, notice the lowest looks like it's right here at -2, but there's an open dot at -2. So we're going to use a parenthesis on the number -2. And then how high up does it go? Well, there's a value here at 1, but then it still keeps on going up even after 1. So at 2 there's a value, at 3 there's a value, all the way up to positive infinity. And using the graph, again, we're going to find out what's the value of g of -2. So again, when the input is -2, or when x is -2, what's the corresponding y value? That's what we're really asking you. So I come over here to -2, and it looks like I have two different y values. But keep in mind, I can only use the one with the solid dot. That's the one that's on the graph. So in this case, g of -2 equals +1. I don't get to use the value down here because, again, the y value, we've got an open dot here. So the point -2, -2 is not really on the graph. At g of 3, so I'm asking when x is 3, what's the corresponding y value? So the corresponding y value when x is 3, I come over here to 3, I go up to, and the y value corresponds to 3. So when x is 3, y is 3. These are my answers right here.